Sup peeps, it's the dude from Beast Mode Gaming. Okay, so this is Hellraised Nightmare, my tanking video, or yeah, my demonstrational tanking tutorial type shit, whatever you want to call it. This is it. So let's begin. What I'm going to do is I'm going to equip the right build first, which is down here. As soon as I find it there, tank rocket. I always like to use the rocket launcher because then I can get in there before the DPSs. You've seen in my Polaris video how dumb some DPSs can be. They can literally just run in and attack stuff and die before you even get there, which drives me crazy sometimes. So if you're learning to tank, be prepared to deal with that sort of shit. I'm surprised they're not up there attacking these dudes over here and getting themselves killed. Okay, so these mobs over here, they actually cleave, so you want to make sure that they're not facing the DPSs, otherwise they'll take damage. So again, nothing really changes on this build. Basically for most dungeons I run the same build, and it's like a master planner build if you like. You can run some extra mitigation if you want, but I recommend having 3 impairs at least. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's do this. So we're gonna jump, jump, jump. Now I can attack. Don't be alarmed by all the glancing, purely because this is a glance dungeon. All hell dungeons have an extremely high glance chance. See what I did there? Basically, you can run 1,000 hit rating and you'll still glance. And they broke fever pitch, so fever pitch doesn't help you anymore. You just have to deal with the glances.
Your life. You're sweet.
Okay, so this boss does something that needs impairing called macro shock. If you look at my DPSs, there's 2,000 health on there. There's 1,970 health there. 2540, 2540. Basically, one macro shock can kill any of my DPSs. So you want to make sure you impair those. Another nice tip is you see this purple shit? It's gone around in a circle, one full rotation already. If you wait for it to go around twice, you don't actually have to kite the boss. Otherwise you would have to kite and run from the circles and do all random shit. So this method you don't have to do that. I'll show you in a second. So this is the second rotation. Once these are gone from the boss, I'll be going in. That's told him that it's go time almost. Get ready for macro shock, it's a fast cast. There it goes, impair it, and then dodge around this corner. Boss will follow. Also make sure one of your DPSs has cleanup, because you will take life burn from this. As you can see, I've got 6 stacks. My health will literally tick away. Nice, piece of cake. So macro shock, that's the only thing you need to impair on that boss. Then this one over here, I always stress to the DPSs, no buffs on this boss. I don't need to type it because there's a big cooldown going on there. Once Jeff gets here. There we are. Okay, going. So you just run to him, don't attack him, don't lose your sprint. Just run down there, say he sees you, and then come and stand behind this rock. DPSs are going to get right up his ass. There we are. That's perfect. Then you just face tank his ass. And hope and pray that the healer can keep you up. If you start losing an extreme amount of health, you can always use Art of War. Since there's nothing to impair here, and Art of War is like instant damage mitigation. Yep, as long as everybody's inside that bubble, we're all good. So all the female bosses do macro shock, and all the male bosses do searing brand. So just like the first boss where we impaired macro shock, we need to impair searing brand on this dude. Otherwise it's a one shot. I don't know how many thousands it hits for, but it's a lot. Another thing I never talked about is benefaction tonics. If you're just a little bit low on attack rating or health, take a benefaction tonic, bam, It's up right there. And they're cheap. Okay, so my shit's off cooldown, everything's in order. Okay, generally the strategy that I use over here is I will tank the boss. If you look where my mouse pointer is, on that platform over there. Make sure the boss's feet don't touch the middle platform, because if they do, that platform will set on fire with your platform. So you want to get the boss across there as fast as you can. Okay, so he's looking good. He's almost in the right position. And going.
Don't expect safe footing.
Searing Brand, don't forget.
The gun.
There's the Searing Brand. Impair that. Make sure his feet's not touching, which it's not, as you can see there. Get ready for the next Searing Brand. There we go, Searing Brand. See how easy it is with mods. You don't have to try and look down at his bar down here. If you look where my mouse pointer is, down there, you don't have to look there for a cast bar. You can just see the cast come up over there and impair that shit. I always recommend running on the outside, not to pull those ads, those dudes, because they're a pain in the ass. It's just time wasted. Okay, so this dude, you only actually have to impair, I think it's Searing Brand. I'm pretty sure it's Searing Brand. But I impair Molten Metal as well, purely because we have the DPS in the group to do it. I don't run out of impairs. If you have to impair all the Searing Brands and all the Molten Metals, you'll run out of impairs for sure. So if you're in a very high DPS group, feel free to impair the Molten Metals, but if you're not, don't. You just dodge out of it and let the healer take care of the AoE damage. Okay, we all here? Yep. 1 jump, 2 jump, 3 jump. Let's do this.
Hurry. Come to me.
You'll see Searing Brand, impair, Molten Metal, impair.
Alone, all Wicca has done. And you also.
See, I've got 1 impair left, 2 stacks of Rising Vigor. There's my next Searing Brand impaired. Done. So I was on 3 stacks of Rising Vigor. That's actually something I haven't talked about yet. Rising Vigor. Basically, you only get 3 impairs on the boss within a certain amount of time. Each time you impair the boss, he gains 1 stack of Rising Vigor. When that number reaches 3, you can no longer impair the boss. He becomes immune to CC. So you want to impair only what's absolutely necessary. If you run out of impairs, or you can possibly not run out of impairs but still hit Rising Vigor, 3 stacks of Rising Vigor, that's not going to be good for you. So you want to make sure you impair or save your impairs for the stuff that matters. Don't impair the crappy non-sort of lethal shit. Okay, so this is a female boss, so again Macro Shock, and there's going to be this weird freaking room-wide yellow AoE shit. I can't remember what the name is, but you'll see over here on the cast bar when it comes up. Something Eruption or some shit. Okay, so buffs just came off cooldown, that just came off cooldown, we're all good. Okay, so I'm going to jump 3 times. 1 jump, 2 jump, 3 jump. Macro Shock, impair. I did impair but it glanced. And there's that one. Now the boss is going to go to the middle. And then we're going to have to kill the ads. So again, DPS is going to use cleanup. I always tell 1 DPS to bring cleanup. Always. For the whole dungeon. Because life burn is the thing in here. See all that glancing going on there. Glance, glance, glance. Because your normal attacks glance, your impairs can glance as well. Okay, so when this shield comes up, don't attack anything inside that shield. The tank can, but none of the DPSs can. So you're going to get ready for some macro shocks again at some point. Arcane Halo, that's what it's called. That yellow shit you need to impair. So as soon as cleanup's off cooldown, our DPS will use it. There we are. Arcane Halo, I need to try and remember that shit. I don't ever sort of read the names anymore. I know what the animations look like since I've been tanking for like 5 years. Just a matter of running around. I apologize also if the writing on my screen is a bit small. If you don't have a 4K monitor, you'll probably struggle to read the writing. Got that impaired. Macro shock. Arcane Halo. Got that impaired. What I do as a tank over here, I sacrifice myself. So the DPSs know not to attack. And this is how everybody does it in Nightmare, that is. We just run through here, or somebody will run through, and they'll sacrifice themselves at the top of this little hill. Right here. That gives the DPSs a chance to run past, and we don't have to worry about killing these dudes. You see, they'll disappear in a second. Once they eventually kill me.
Separate them. Kill it.
Oh, and another thing, remember to repair 97,000.
Be our savior.
Okay, so let's see who we got. So, I think Jeff is healing. Let's look. So Jeff is healing. So Honey Beaver will have an impair. Paul will have an impair. Not an impair, sorry, a cleanup. And Harv is cleanup 2. That means Paul will be cleanup 3. So I basically said, so Paul is cleanup 3, and then I said all good, question mark. Just so we're all on the same page. Then what we're going to do is I'm going to slot my special machine tyrant build. Okay, so gear manager. I need to look for the tank build that says machine tyrant with cleanup. There it is. Nice. So let me explain what I do here. Cool, calm and collected. Agitation or agitator. Debil. You can't not have debil. Afflicted. You have to afflict. And then minor penetration chance for debil. You have to weaken. And sudden return. Because I penetrate a lot, it's nice to have sort of extra penetration damage going on there. Once again, damage equals aggro. The more damage you do as a tank, the more aggro you'll have on the boss. So, but there's a fine line. Again, like what it goes back to. Let the DPSs do the DPS and you worry about staying alive, impairing all the shit and keeping the group alive. I'm just waiting for Paul. He just said wait. And once they're all good, I'll tell them to jump when they're ready. Okay, I only saw 3 people jump. So Harv hasn't jumped. Okay, halves jumped. That means we're all good. We got all the cleanups in order. Okay, let's do this. 1 jump, 2 jump, 3 jump. Nothing to impair in this fight. Just pay close attention to what I do. Okay, so I'm going to use my turret over there. I'm going to use all my shit. Then I'm going to wait over here. You don't want to run the boss into the well right away. You want to sort of hang back a little bit. If you take him in too early, the next well won't be off cooldown yet, and you won't have your leech healer won't be able to keep you alive because the boss will have a shield. Okay, it's going to the middle. Get to a safe place. That's what I tell my DPSers. Do not try and cart those yellow bombs because you will die. Dead DPS, do no DPS. Get to a safe spot and this fight will be fine. A lot of people are scared of this fight and it's purely because DPSers aren't the smartest. They tend to take risks when it's not necessary, if you catch my drift. I'm all about finishing the dungeon. You can take risks and do all random shit basically after you've mastered all this shit and you cannot do everything. Then it's a time for taking risks. Okay, I literally ran out of health there. It's nice that you guys can see some of the wipes. So there was no cleanup 3 fired. They'll all die eventually. Okay, so I'm going to reload UI just to keep the shit running smooth. There we are. My shit's all good. Control Shift F1. That's the command to reload UI and keep your game running smooth. Okay, so I'm just going to go jump 1, jump 2, jump 3. I hate it when he doesn't do demolish right away. He's going to do demolish soon. Where's my well at? Over there. Now it's just a matter of keep looking around for the well, and there's the well. Boss is going to the middle, get to a safe place. My DPSs better not be carting those yellow bombs. Watch them drop like flies. The tank needs to be firm about that shit. Yep, there's one down, and that happens to be my healer. I'm gonna have to try and do something. Missing a cleanup or some shit. People aren't doing their jobs. Okay, it's a wipe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into TeamSpeak real quick, and I'm going to, oh actually no, I'm not going to jump onto TeamSpeak. I don't want to bore you guys with all the TeamSpeak chatter going on in there. So HB is my wife and she sat right behind me. Her name is Honeybeaver here in the group, and I'm just going to address her real quick, and I'll hold the mic button down so you can hear what I say. Tell Jeff to run his leech as normal, and I'm bringing cleanup. I'll do cleanup 1, you do cleanup 2, Half does cleanup 3. Just say that in TeamSpeak right now. And then if you can tell Paul to bring short fuse, do his normal DPS build with short fuse. Usually I'd be in TeamSpeak and this shit would go a lot smoother. That's another benefit. TeamSpeak. A lot of people are scared to go on TeamSpeak. I think TeamSpeak is an awesome learning aid. I don't generally teach anyone how to tank without TeamSpeak because I like to talk about stuff. I don't like to type in the group chat and type all the shit that you have to do. That's painful. Typing is bullshit. Okay, so I'll just type over here, jump when ready. So I've had 1 jump, 2 jump, 3 jump. Only 3 jump. Okay, 3 out of 4. Yep, it's not a bad statistic. Let's do this. There's the demolish. I like it when he does demolish to start with, because then you have no chance of losing aggro. Hit him with my turret just to teach him a lesson. There's my well. Pause in front of the well. Don't take him in right away. Now I can take him in. You want to take him in just before he's about to bring his shield up. 2-3 seconds, something like that. Okay, it's going. Oh my god. If he picks that well up, we're screwed. Yep, he picked it up. Watch my DPS's cart in yellow bombs. They know better. Keep an eye out for the well. There it is. I'm pretty sure it's cleanup 3 next. No cleanup 3? I'll do cleanup. Okay, it's going to the middle, get to a safe place. Watch my DPSs, and cart them yellow bombs. Here it comes. Usually what I do is I don't like to be in a corner. I'll rocket launch straight through him and go back to the middle. Make sure you instruct your DPS as you're doing that. My team knows that because I've been doing it with them for years. Okay, so there's no more shield. And he dies. A nice tip is once his health gets to 70, about 69,000, there's actually no more shield after that. So even though it says shield on the mods, there's no shield. What I generally do is I run to this corner over here, and then I just wait here. The boss will always come for me. I stand over here, and he'll run straight to me, and the DPSs can just attack him at their leisure. And he'll run to me. Once he reaches me, he'll turn around and run back. And it's just a rinse and repeat, basically, until he dies. From about 69,000, that'll happen. Every time. And that is Hell-Raised Nightmare. Easy as that. There's nothing really to worry about. As long as you impair all the macro shocks on the female bosses, the searing brands on the male bosses, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Make sure your DPSs don't cart the yellow bombs. Tell them. You need to be very strict about that shit. No carting the yellow bombs. Dead DPS to no DPS. Okay, I'll stop sort of going on about that shit. And hopefully you guys enjoyed that. And leave a thumbs up below if you have any gear issues or questions or anything, or glyphing, whatever it may be, anything. Just drop a message down below and I'll get back to you. Okay, sweet. See you later. Cheers.